Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And it being a Friday, we like to do some good news stories. We've had a couple today. Obviously, the penny was a good one, and we had the Gillian Sturgeon. Obviously, we've had some serious ones in there, like the cancer one and the women being abused in prison. So we will go back to something that is more cheery. It's a Friday afternoon. We need to be cheery and pleased. And here is the perfect story for it. Because Humza Yousaf has finally admitted what others have been privately and publicly saying, that should the SNP have a very poor performance and lose seats at the general election, he's saying it would push the Skexit cause backwards. Well, I think it would actual fact end it permanently. His claim is that he's going to win the most seats, and that would be the mandate to begin negotiations for independence. And so if he loses, then of course it must, by his own argument, be the mandate for unionism. And that would be the final clinching end, I think, of independence. Because even SNP supporters don't particularly want independence. Most of them, 60% of them, don't want full independence under the SNP. They're happy to support the SNP, but not happy to have an independent Scotland run by the SNP, because that way madness lies. Let's have a look. Now, before we get in, if you're one of our regular viewers, many, 60% of the regular viewers who are yet to subscribe, please do subscribe. The effects you have are massive on the channel because we get pushed down because we're political. And if you're a new viewer, then definitely subscribe. You don't want to miss the fun as we ridicule and rip apart the SNP. It's hardly sport, is it? They make it so easy for us, especially with stories like this. Humza Yousaf admits SNP losing seats at general election would push the Skexit cause backwards, or as I'd like to call it, kills it dead in the water. It's already a minority view. You lose seats. It's not even a minority view. It's an extremist view. The First Minister confessed that if the SNP lose seats, then the independence movement would go backwards, as he was accused of posturing over boasts that he can win 6 Tory-held constituencies. I'm just going to say this. Never in your wildest dreams are you going to win 6 Tory-held constituencies. It will be the Tories taking seats from you, with the vote being split along the nationalist line by Alba, by the Greens, and by people jumping ship from the SNP to Labour. Those strong Tory areas where Tories are strong will maintain it, and where Tories are in second place may even take your seats. If I was Humza Yousaf, I would not be making any boasts at this stage, because I think it is quite clear that his days are numbered, and once that election is called, he's done. The SNP will be very much reduced, diminished, and hopefully bankrupted. Humza Yousaf has set out a challenge to unionists in Scotland at the next general election, as he admitted that the Skexit cause will move backwards if his party loses seats at the next general election. And I think it's more or less certain that this is going to happen. I reckon 20 seats minimum, possibly 28 seats lost. There is the possibility of getting the Nats, at the next general election down to single figures. But that does require a lot of very brave tactical voting by the people of Scotland. But if you do it, you can get them down to a single figure amount of seats, and that would bankrupt them. They would literally not get enough money off Westminster to even maintain their costs. It would be an absolute routing for them, and they would more or less go into bankruptcy straight away. It would be wonderful to see. Polling for the Nats has them losing at least 10 seats, with this maybe growing to about 20 due to the growing support for Labour. And indeed, that momentum, that impetus is continuing, and it is rolling like an unstoppable force across Scotland. And the number of people that are jumping ship from the SNP to Labour is significant, and in some places massively so. We saw Rutherglen, a 20% swing, when even John Curtis sat there and was like, wow, because he did not foresee anything close to a 20% swing. So you know that it is very serious trouble for the SNP. We previously told how SNP MP Tommy Shepherd pleaded with Scots to vote for them, as if they did, or if they don't, sorry, it will end the independence debate. And now the First Minister has confessed similar as he stares down the barrel of a resounding defeat. It's going to be humiliating defeat. It's going to be such a big loss that he will have no option. Even him, the man with no shame, will have no option but to go. He knows it. Because simply people just won't serve under him. He's not popular now. He's very divisive within the party. And Kate Forbes' star is definitely rising. And a poor result at this election will mean that Kate Forbes will almost certainly be elected Queen of the SNP within 48 hours. There won't even be an election. It will just be an anointment. His party is set to launch its general election campaign on Friday as it aims to win 6 Tory-held seats in the northeast and the south of the country. Mr Yousaf told Good Morning Scotland that even if Scots reject the SNP at the ballot box, he would continue to push for the breaking up of the UK. Does he not understand that if they reject the SNP at the ballot box, he will have gone? His argument is dead, and he can shout and scream all he likes, but he'll be a silent voice lost in the wilderness. He said Tommy Shepherd is not wrong in saying, of course, that if the message in Scotland is that Scotland votes for Labour MPs, and that if that message that Keir Starmer sees, then of course that will take our independence backwards. No, it will kill it, dead in the water. Asked directly if the debate on independence will stop if the party fails to win the most seats, Mr Yousaf said no. The SNP will never stop campaigning for independence. It hasn't stopped campaigning in its almost 90 years of existence. Yes, but that will be it, because if you lose that many seats, you'll be bankrupted and it won't even exist anymore. Oh dear, what a shame, never mind. The First Minister also admitted that the independence movement will have a more difficult challenge with SNP MPs at Westminster, but boasted that he wanted to win a majority of seats in Scotland to give a democratic effect to Scotland becoming an independent country. But it won't, because the majority of people don't want independence, regardless of how many seats you get on a first past the post system. You don't get the majority of the vote. That's the problem. He knows it. He's not as stupid as that. He's looking for any kind of glimmer that he can use to convince the very stupid people that vote for the SNP that their vote matters. And of course, ultimately, it doesn't. And it certainly won't at the end of this election. He's set to take the stage at Glasgow with Westminster leader Stephen Flynn to address party candidates and supporters to kick off the general election campaigning and become the first Scottish party to do so. Yes, very premature. I'm sure that that's a problem. He's expected to say the first step we take towards a brighter future must be to kick the Tories out. For Scotland, the first step to a brighter future is to kick the SNP out. The SNP is by far best placed party to do that. No, they're not. Labour are the best party to do that, let's be honest. It says in every Tory-held seat in Scotland, we are the party in second place. Yes. And in a lot of the places where you're holding them, the Tories are second place. Isn't that weird? He says, today I'm setting an ambition for the SNP to wipe the Tories from Scotland's electoral map by winning all 6 of those Tory seats. He's going to look so foolish, isn't he? Come the Friday morning in October, which it'll probably be, he will sit there and he'll be going, ah yes, those 6 Tory seats. And he'll be looking at the 11 Tory seats because he'll have lost 5 to the Tories. Oh dearie me. And then there'll be a knock on the door and Kate Forbes will be going, hi Humza, do you want to fuck off? My turn. And he'll have to pack his bag and walk out, little flat cap on, and shuffle out the back door away from the glare of the press all embarrassed, humiliated, and as successful as leader as he has been in every other job. Dearie, dearie me. And he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that he is finished. That the SNP are going to lose so many seats. Labour are resurgent. They're going to wipe out half the MPs. The Tories may well take an MP or two, and they could be down to single figures. Now, it's not likely because people just aren't going to do the amount of tactical voting that's required, but it's possible. It's absolutely possible. Anyway, the SNP, and this is Dame Jackie Bailey saying that while the SNP is posturing about kicking the Tories out of Scotland, Labour's getting ready to kick them out of government. And the SNP is desperately scrambling for relevance at the next election, but voters face a straightforward choice. Well, they do. She's going to be saying, oh, vote Labour. I'm going to be saying, don't vote for anyone. Vote against him. Vote against Humza Yousaf. Vote for anyone other than the SNP. But make sure, whoever you are in your constituency, if it's an SNP constituency, you vote for the party in second place. And get Humza out. Get the SNP out. Wipe him out. That'll put a smile on his face. And everyone else's. Coming up. He's pretty delusional, isn't he? To even think that he's going to win any Tory seats is remarkable. To think he's going to win 6. I don't know what he's smoking, but it must be good stuff. And he is, of course, going to lose a whole rake of seats at the next general election. It's far too late for him to turn this around. The only way that the SNP can do anything to even reduce the losses would be to dump Humza and put Kate Forbes in about now. They've got to give her time to bed in and make a difference with the people. But of course, the longer they dither and the longer they delay, the less likely that's going to happen. And even if she did come in, say after Easter, it doesn't give her a lot of time to change too much. So by then, of course, it's far, far too late. So it's up to the SNP. They're going to lose, but by how much? A lot? Keep Humza. Just a little, put Kate in. But of course they can't. The moment Kate Forbes becomes leader, the Greens will walk. It's the one thing guaranteed to get them out. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was definitely worth a subscription and a like. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.